There's zero change at the top of Matt Snyder's Power Rankings this week. Phillies are there for a second straight edition. Top 5 sees some shuffling around, but no major changes there either. Astros are the biggest risers, up 9 spots to 15. Nationals are the biggest fallers, down 7 slots to 25. All right, time to check in with Matt Snyder, puts those power rankings together, and our MLB insider Jim Bowden with his reaction to said rankings, any team updates and injury news, as we do every Monday for you here. So, Matt, Philly holds off the Dodgers here, and you've also, in the article here, kind of established this upper tier or penthouse of teams right now. Take us through that.
Yeah, well, at the top, I almost put the Dodgers because Jim keeps telling me that the Dodgers should be #1, and he's hurting my feelings. And I was like, I thought about it. But the Phillies just don't lose series. They haven't lost a series since April 3rd. That was the last time they lost a series. They're 2.5 games better than the Dodgers. 80 run differential. Dodgers are plus 85, so 5 better there. That's kind of negligible to me. The Phillies starting pitching has been amazing. And again, they just don't lose series. The Dodgers actually lost 4 of 7 through last Thursday before they won 3 in a row against the Reds. You know, the Yankees are going really, really well right now, so they're an obvious #3 for me. The Orioles are great. The Braves are great, even though the offense should be better, and they're still trying to fill that Spencer Strider void. But I really do think that those 5 teams are head and shoulders above everybody else for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and I agree with Matt completely on that. There's a big separation after the top 5. But once again, he got the top team wrong. It's the Dodgers that should be 1, the Phillies 2, and the rest of his list is on point. Look, he mentioned it, right? The Dodgers have a better run differential, right? Yes, the Phillies have scored 3 more runs, but look at the ballpark they're playing in. You know, I look at the home runs. Dodgers about homered 68 to 54. And the Dodgers team ERA is better, but it's close, 3.14 to 3.17. But the batting average against, there's a big difference there. 213 against the Dodgers, 223 against the Phillies. And what stands out to me with the Dodgers is they've got 4 hitters in the top 12 in the league in OPS. Ohtani's 1st, Mookie Betts is 3rd, Freddie Freeman is 10th, Will Smith is 12th. That's just dominant. So, yeah, I've got the Dodgers 1, but look, all 5 of those teams, he's got absolutely right. And I do want to mention Alec Boehm of the Philadelphia Phillies because he's having an MVP caliber season. He's leading the National League in runs batted in. He's been a huge producer for them, and he's been a difference maker. But sooner or later, Tommy, Matt Snyder is going to have the Dodgers 1, and I'm betting it's going to be next Monday.
Yeah, we just got to keep getting together. And, Jim, you got to keep hammering it down, right, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. And on the Boehm note, he's on pace for over 140 RBI. But I went to look at the Phillies franchise record single season. He ain't getting there. It's 170 by Hall of Famer Chuck Klein. Yeah, still a lot of work to do, even if it has like a monster of year of all years for Alec Boehm. All right, so we've established sort of the gold standard, the upper tier here. If we continue down the list, though, we have the Rays coming off that nice roadie 5-2. They've got a lengthy homestand coming soon, Matt. What's to like about Tampa Bay right now? Well, putting them 10 was kind of a lack of options more than giving the Rays props because the Cubs, the Twins, the Padres, the Rangers are all stumbling right now. And I felt like I couldn't throw the Astros all the way up to 10. They still have a losing record. Look, Yandy Diaz has been better. They still need Randy Arozarena to step up and start hitting a little bit over the Mendoza line and stop striking out so much. But hey, that was a really good road trip, winning 5 of 7 in Toronto and Boston. Even if the Blue Jays and Red Sox are more mediocre than good, it's still tough to go 5-2 on a road trip to those 2 places. So good on the Rays there. Then, as you said, they come home, so kind of a soft landing after that good, tough road trip. But again, putting them 10th, it was kind of a lack of options because the other options were not playing well at all right now.
Yeah, but it was time for them to get in the top 3rd, I think, of teams, man. I'm glad you put them there. You know, it's funny because I talked to Kevin Cash, the manager of the Rays, exactly 10 days ago. And I said to him, what do you guys have to do to turn it around? What is wrong? And he said simply, he said, look, I've got to get Josh Lowe off the IL. I've got to get Randy Arozarena and Yandy Diaz hitting. And we need Taj Bradley to come back and be the starting pitcher we thought he would be. Well, what's happened since that in 10 days? Josh Lowe came off the injured list and has hit 2 home runs this week. Randy Arozarena, over his last 56 at-bats, has 4 homers and 8 RBIs. And oh, by the way, Yandy Diaz, 2 homers and 10 RBIs over the last 2 weeks. So Whenever Kevin Cash told me that, it happened. And then Taj Bradley has made 2 starts since then. How about 11 innings, 3 earned runs, 13 punch-outs? So the Rays finally are getting a couple of their veteran hitters hitting. Lowe's off the IL. They're getting healthy. Now they're waiting for Brandon Lowe to come off the IL. Now they're moving their top prospect, Junior Caminero, to different positions to find a pathway to get him to the big leagues because they think that offense is going to help. But I can see the Rays now starting to build momentum here. I'm glad he made the top 10 list of Matt's.
Okay, so maybe a slight reluctance for the Rays, but Jim certainly agrees that they belong there at this time. And again, still plenty of time for all these teams to make moves and to slide up and down Matt Snyder's power rankings. Let's continue to have a conversation because I think we'll have this one all year long with the NL Central, Matt, right? When we have the Cubs and the Brewers right now. And take me through the 8-11 decision with these 2 teams at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, neither one is really lighting the world on fire right now. The Brewers, since their 17-8 starter, 10-11, but the Cubs, since their 17-9 starter, 9-13. The Cubs rotation has been, for the most part, amazing. Who had Javier Assad and Shota Imanaga both performing like all-stars and being among the best pitchers in the league. But the Cubs offense right now is really struggling. They did get Cody Bellinger and Seiya Suzuki back from the injured list, but Dansby Swanson's on the injured list. Nico Horner is banged up, so that leaves a lot to be desired up the middle there with playing Myers Mastroboni and Nick Madrigal at short and second. The bullpen, especially in the early season for the Cubs, the bullpen was a big problem. Probably cost them at least 5 games. That might matter down the road. Remember, they only missed the playoffs by a game last year, so that could come back to bite them. On the Brewers end, they're a little bit better than the Cubs right now, but again, haven't been that great. William Contreras, amazing season so far for him, but overall, neither one of these teams is going that well, and they're trying to leave the door open for somebody else in that division. Maybe the Pirates, maybe the Reds get together. Cardinals have started to turn things around.
Yeah, and Matt, for me, I think what we got to look at here is the fact that, look, the Brewers run differentials plus 38, right? Chicago Cubs is just plus 8. But these are 2 very different teams, right? Brewers have a much better offense. They've scored 23 more runs this year, right? They're actually 3rd in the league in runs scored, while the Cubs are 12th. Okay, and now let's talk about team ERA, because the Cubs pitching, and as Matt mentioned, Shota Imanaga's ERA is 0.84. And Javier Assad's is 1.49, but as a team, their ERA is 3.6 compared to the Brewers' 4.07. So the Cubs have much better pitching. And as Matt mentioned, 9 blown saves for the Cubs compared to 5 for Milwaukee. That 4-game differential tells you why the standings are where they are. 2 young players that we need to talk about, one on each team. Joey Ortiz of Milwaukee Brewers, who was the headliner in the Corbin Burns trade. 4 homers and 7 RBIs over his last 40 at-bats. He's starting to put together what the Brewers were hoping when they acquired him in that trade. And Christopher Morel, this last 24 games, he's got 13 RBIs. He has added a lot of power and a lot of injuries. So those are 2 young, exciting players that are trying to have breakout years. But I agree, Tommy, with you and with Matt. This is going to be a race all year. I think the NL Central is going to be close. I do think the Brewers and Cubs are the 2 best teams. Brewers with a better offense, Cubs with a better pitching staff. It's going to be fun to watch all year.
I love it. And then let's finally talk about the Astros, which Matt said he thought about maybe moving Houston up even higher. You know, it's funny, Matt, Jim and I were talking about this team not too long ago, one of Justin Verlander's starts, and I said, boy, not me, but some people are saying if Houston continues to struggle, maybe they're going to move Justin Verlander around. And Jim was like, no, Houston's going to get better, and they have gotten better, Matt. So take me through the thought process of getting him back at least into the top 15 at the moment.
Well, I was armed and ready to jump them up a lot of spots if they ever started playing well, because they have the personnel. They're just too many good players for them to be playing so poorly. And sure enough, they're 9-2 in their last 11 games. I think back to the 2018 Dodgers, who were 16-26 and won the NL pennant. I think back to the 2019 Nationals, who were 19-31 and won the World Series. The Astros can make a similar turnaround here. They're just too good. Like I said, they have too many good players. Jose Altuve, Kyle Tucker leading the way. Alex Bregman got off to a slow start. There's a lot more in the tank there. The pitching staff, as you mentioned, with Verlander, Christian Javier was hurt for a little bit. Framber Valdez could be better. They just have the personnel. Look, Ryan Presley and Josh Hader are capable of being the best 8th and 9th inning duo in baseball, and they were both awful at the start of the year. Again, too many good players for this to not turn around. So yeah, it's turning around right now, and I'm going to say they will have a winning record by the time we get to June.
And I will say they'll be in first place at the trade deadline. So I'll take it a step further. They're that good. Now, they've had some trouble in the starting pitching. That's why they have struggled. And guys like Hunter Brown, Spencer Arrighetti, J.P. France, they've been a main reason why they are where they are. But they've had help. They're getting healthy now. And I talked to Dana Brown, the general manager of the Astros, yesterday. I asked him about the 3 starters on the injured list. And he said that Jose Urquidy is going to make one more rehab start, and then he will be activated as long as that start goes well. That's going to be huge for them because that's going to take their biggest weakness out of the rotation. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to be 5 deep, and that's when I think they can really go on a roll. Remember, they've won 9 of their last 11 games, and that's why they're quickly moving up on Matt's list here. But also, he told me what was interesting. Luis Garcia is not close to being ready. It's going to be July at the earliest. And then came the more shocking news when he told me that they're not even expecting Lance McCullers Jr. until mid-August at the earliest. So once Urquidy comes back, don't look for much more help after that when it comes to starting pitching. And I also want to follow up on what Matt said about Kyle Tucker. I mean, this guy's got 7 homers and 12 RBIs over the last 2 weeks. And Alex Bregman, who was horrible in April, he's got 3 homers and 8 RBIs over that same time period. And I love what I've seen with the rookie, Joey Loperfido. I mean, this guy's got a .390 on base percentage since they called him to the big leagues. Now, unfortunately, he's probably not going to play every day because Chas McCormick is coming off the IL shortly. So those 2 are going to probably platoon in left field. But this Astro team is getting healthy, and when they get healthy, we know what's going to happen. They're going to get wealthy in the standing.
You guys are getting me a little excited. Seattle plus 120 to win the division. Houston next up at plus 175. Jim, Matt, thank you very much. You can check out Snyder's entire list on CBSSports.com. We're going to give you 21 through 30. Mets and A's joining the Nats as big fallers this week towards the Power Rankings basement. In terms of the games tonight, we've got a couple of heavy favorites. We've got Atlanta minus 235, Chris Sale, Goodyear, and Dodgers laying the big number with Yamamoto on the bump.